The end of the Beatles was never going to be simple. When the group finally began to fracture at the close of the 1960s, it wasn't merely the breakup of the world's most successful band. It was the collapse of one of the most powerful creative partnerships in modern cultural history. For nearly a decade, four musicians from Liverpool had moved as a single force, reshaping popular music, redefining the recording studio as an artistic instrument, and soundtracking an era of social and cultural upheaval. But as the decade drew to a close, personal differences, mounting business conflicts, and increasingly divergent artistic visions began to outweigh the bond that once held them together. By the time they entered the studio to record Abbey Road, the unity captured on tape concealed a far more fragile reality. The album sounded polished, confident, and timeless, yet beneath its elegance lay exhaustion, resentment, and the quiet knowledge that this was likely the final chapter. The roots of that tension stretched back several years, becoming especially visible during the making of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. During those sessions, Paul McCartney emerged as the dominant creative driver. His push toward a fully realized concept album, rich in theatrical flair and studio experimentation, propelled the band into uncharted territory. The result was revolutionary, changing the course of popular music forever. Yet that creative leap came at a cost. The internal balance of the group subtly shifted. Leadership, once fluid and shared, began to tilt. While collaboration remained, it no longer came effortlessly. Creative disagreements that once felt stimulating now required negotiation and emotional labor. Those cracks widened during the recording of the Beatles, better known as the White Album. Rather than sounding like a unified artistic statement, the record often felt like four distinct voices competing for space. Arguments erupted over arrangements, song choices, and production decisions. At times, band members worked in separate rooms or entirely separate studios simply to avoid one another. What had once been healthy creative tension hardened into isolation. When the band relocated to Twickenham Studios to film and record what would eventually become Let It Be, morale was already dangerously low. The original concept was nostalgic and optimistic. Strip away studio trickery, return to live performance, and rediscover the chemistry of their early days. Instead, the cameras captured visible discomfort, frustration, and emotional distance. The sessions laid bare how far apart the members had grown. Much of that material remained unreleased until after the band had officially split. Determined not to let the Beatles' story end on such a fractured note, McCartney urged one final effort, an album made with discipline, focus, and craftsmanship, once again under the guidance of producer George Martin. If this was truly the end, it would be done properly. Ironically, Abbey Road became the album that marked George Harrison's full creative arrival. Long overshadowed by the Lennon-McCartney partnership, Harrison delivered two of the strongest compositions in the band's catalog. Something revealed a songwriter capable of emotional depth and melodic sophistication equal to his bandmates. While Here Comes the Sun radiated warmth and optimism, an almost bittersweet contrast to the band's internal disintegration.
Here comes the sun, here comes the sun.
At the same time, John Lennon was moving in a different direction altogether. Deeply influenced by his relationship with Yoko Ono, Lennon gravitated toward more abstract, atmospheric, and experimental songwriting. His artistic compass no longer aligned neatly with McCartney's meticulously crafted pop sensibility. That contrast is immediately apparent in the album's opening track, Come Together. Loosely inspired by You Can't Catch Me by Chuck Berry, Lennon built the song around a dark, hypnotic groove and surreal, cryptic lyrics.
Come together right now.
Despite the tension, McCartney played a crucial role in shaping the track. His now legendary bass line anchors the entire song, locking tightly with the drums of Ringo Starr. Musically, the Beatles sounded as cohesive as ever, an astonishing feat given their strained relationships. Behind the scenes, frustration simmered. Recording engineer Jeff Emmerich later recalled in his memoir, Here, There, and Everywhere, that McCartney became increasingly dissatisfied during the overdub sessions. Unsure of what role he was meant to play on electric piano, he grew irritated. Lennon responded curtly, saying he would handle the additional overdubs himself. Rather than argue, McCartney did something uncharacteristic. He left the studio early. For a musician known for his control, perfectionism, and relentless involvement, the decision was telling. It wasn't a dramatic exit fueled by anger. It was the quiet withdrawal of someone emotionally worn down. This was not the first time McCartney had walked away. Years earlier, during the recording of She Said for Revolver, a similar conflict had erupted. The song, inspired by a disorienting encounter Lennon had with Peter Fonda, sparked intense disagreements over arrangement and structure. When tensions peaked, McCartney left, and the remaining members completed the track without him. Even then, the pattern was clear. When collaboration became emotionally unsustainable, separation followed. Despite everything, Abbey Road stands as one of the most refined achievements in popular music history. The seamless medley on its second side, stitching fragments into a single emotional journey, symbolized the band's extraordinary ability to create beauty from disarray. The harmonies remained breathtaking, the musicianship razor-sharp, and the production immaculate. Inside the studio, however, Lennon and McCartney were no longer the inseparable partners of their early years. They were two fully formed artists moving in different directions, bound by history rather than a shared future. Abbey Road endures as both triumph and farewell, a final reminder that even as one of music's greatest partnerships quietly dissolved, its creative power remained astonishingly intact until the very end.